You have a story, a big, hairy, scary story of something that happened to your daughter in school, and you felt called to share this with other mamas so that they could teach their kids, boy or girl, how to stand up for themselves. And so this is going to touch on the bullying issue, and we're going to kind of go deep on the bullying issue because there are two sides that we want to talk about. But so tell us the story about what happened to your precious Ellie.
Yeah, so I have 3 kiddos, and as you guys know, every single kid is different. And Ellie is my kiddo who wants to make everyone happy. She wants to people please. She doesn't want to do anything wrong. She's never in trouble. So she comes home from school a couple weeks ago on a Friday, and she's like, Mom, I got detention. And at this point, I'm like shocked because this is not who Ellie is. And I'm like, baby, what happened? She's like, there's a boy in my class. She's in 6th grade, for context. She's in 6th grade. She says, there's a boy in my class who is accusing me of having sex with another boy at school. And then he took my pencil and broke it, at which point she used a profanity to stand up for herself, and the teacher heard it and gave Ellie detention. And at this point, Ellie is bawling as she's telling me what's going on. And I was like, oh, how are we going to handle this? Because this is a child who never stands up for herself. So the very fact that she decided she was going to stand up for herself is a huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
So I had a choice to make. How was I going to handle this?
Yeah.
So what I did was I went into school on Monday and I said, there is not a chance that Ellie's going to go to detention. And so I need to have a conversation with the teacher about how this is playing out. So we had an open conversation. I said, help me understand what happened. I had a very clear understanding of what happened from what Elle told me. And I really had to advocate for her that she wasn't going to detention. And the reason I did that was because I felt like when she stands up for herself, when she's getting physically and verbally attacked by another boy in class, that is exactly how I want her to respond. I want her to stand up for herself and use a profanity if that's what she has to do. So it was a moment where I really had to analyze how, teachers are the people who need parental backing the most. And so I had to kind of go against that gut check of she needs my support too. I need to go to war for my kiddo to help her stand up for herself when the situation arises.
It was kind of you standing up for Ellie instead of Ellie standing up for herself at that point. So how did you balance that? Like, mom's not always going to do this. How did you do that?
Yeah, so and I think it depends on your kiddo, right? So she's my kiddo who, this was a huge act of her standing up for herself. And so I felt fine swooping in and saying, I'm advocating for you. And I'm like acknowledging, I like this in you. I like seeing you stand up for yourself. Some of my other kiddos, that maybe wouldn't be the case. They could handle it on their own. So I think it's really an individual basis, but I knew in this moment I had to tell Elle, look her in the eye and say, I'm so proud of you for using your voice to stand up for yourself.
That's a tough one because my husband's a high school principal and he's super consistent. He and his dean are very consistent. So when a parent comes in and says, my kid is a good child, they don't deserve to have detention or ISS or whatever it is, my husband is almost completely non-negotiable because he says we always have to hold the line because we have to be consistent or people will think they can talk us out of stuff.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
The other thing I'll confess to you, I'm not even sure my husband wants me to admit this on the radio, is that he will give a kid detention for hitting another kid, but at the same time say, you know what, it was really good that you hit that kid. But because he wants kids to defend themselves and to not become victims. And so he was like, yeah, you can't do that, so I got to give you detention, but it's probably good that you hit them. Because
I love that. It's acknowledging both sides, right? It's saying, please stand up for yourself, and there's repercussions when you do.
Yeah.
So I applaud that. I think that's a really holistic way of handling it.
It is. And my husband, when my son was young, would say to him, look, if anybody hits you, I want you to hit him back. And I said, Mike, is that really what we want to do? Jesus turns the other cheek and all that. It's like, look, I want to set him up not to become a victim for the rest of his life. So the first time he hits somebody back, he's never going to get hit again.